October 15th, 2010, Friday. I'm here in Sacramento. I'm going to shoot some videos and get them up real quick because a lot of important things going on here in California and nationwide. I woke up early this morning, a little bit before 5 o'clock, and I noticed that Bernanke was going to be speaking on CNBC, or they were going to cover it, rather. And so I listened to Bernanke's whole speech. And the gist of this video, and what I'm going to call it, is Bernanke is bearish. A lot of doublespeak, a tremendous amount of hedging in Bernanke's statement. He talked about core inflation rate, and then he would make assumptions that they were going to assert such and such if things happened without event. Anyway, it was hedge after hedge after hedge. But my reading of Bernanke's whole statement this morning, his whole speech, and I noticed he didn't take one question, is he's more worried, well, he said it too, that he was worried about the economy and it hasn't met expectations despite all that stimulus. And I noticed on a website 1.7 trillion in the Fed, no less, buying its own debt and buying other assets to prop up this dying economy. That's very serious and huge. That's why I said it collapsed 2 years ago. It's collapsed. It's just smoke and mirrors right now. And I've also been warning about deflation in several videos, and Ben talked about deflation. So I know a lot of people are getting excited about inflation. At the same time, I was watching gold. Gold went up a little bit, but it ended down. So far today, it's still down. Deflation. Some people say, well, what's deflation? Deflation is when the general price level goes down. So sadly, people have experienced deflation in houses, deflation in stock prices, deflation in a lot of different things. And sadly, in food, they've experienced inflation. There's been quite a bit of inflation in, it's kind of sad, but gas price is still at $3 a gallon here in California, even though oil's been, back down to the 80s. Deflation is when prices go down. Instead of paying $12 to a movie, with deflation going on, you're going to pay $10 or $9 to a movie. So the fact, it's movie prices will go down. So the fact that there's been trillions added to fix this problem, and prices are still a concern, shows, well, for instance, let's say they wouldn't have thrown 1.7 trillion at this problem. We would have had massive deflation. Let me go over some notes I took. So Ben said not enough job creation to bring down, and he would say, structural unemployment. Talked about easing credit, and then I was watching the long bond, the 30-year bond. It was at 3.89 and went all the way up to 4%. A lot of fluctuation there. People felt this is inflationary, but I'm reading through the lines of what Ben Bernanke was saying, and he is warning, or he's beginning to see that the economy is in worse condition. There's fear there. On Drudge Report, there's a big smiling face of Bernanke, but underneath that, Bernanke's not smiling. He's scared. And sure, he's an expert on the Depression. So if you want to find out Depression, talk to somebody that lived through the Depression. You don't learn about it by reading from books. You can learn about it from reading by books. That's called second-hand. If you want to know about the Depression, go find someone that's 75, 80 years old that went to a movie, and then when they had a quarter, they felt like king of the world. In fact, there's one story where this guy, he was in San Francisco, he's just a kid, he had a $5 bill, he went in to buy something, and they gave him change for $1. And he said, I gave you a $5 bill. You know what the storekeeper said? He said, Sonny, there's not a $5 bill in this city. That's how bad the Depression was. So a lot of people nowadays, they have no clue, no idea. They get food stamps, they get all kinds of welfare. Back in those days, you didn't. You got out a garbage can, you jumped on a rail, you did what you could, you picked all day for whatever, 50 cents or 25 cents or whatever it was. But if you want to know about deflation and depressions, talk to some old school people. They're still around. Talk to them and you'll learn a lot. Okay, so the long bond's jumping around. Man, Ben started talking about the SEP. So I'm going to get in there and study about the SEP some more and figure out what they're doing, because basically the whole world's watching Ben. The guy can't fix the economy. He's pretty much saying he can't fix it, and he's warning you that he's not going to fix it. So no matter what you read on Yahoo or Drudge or whatever Glenn Beck's going to say, well, Glenn's not a finance guy, but oh, there was a guy that made a comment on this, Senator Evan Bayh, and he said there's going to be inflation. Once again, he's wrong, and this guy's on the finance committee. So it's pretty bad, because you have guys in Washington that don't know what's going on. Obviously, don't know. Look at the mess they have us in. And well, let me go to page 6 of my notes here. Ben starts talking about inflation. He's kind of worried about it. The inflation rate, they're trying to keep it between 1 and 2%. It's at 1.1. Interest rates are at 0 to 2.5%. And then Ben talks about balance sheet repair. Balance sheet repair. What does that mean? Well, that means that balance sheets are broken. They need to be repaired. What are balance sheets? The financial statements of companies and corporations. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited here, but they're in huge trouble, and he uses these euphemisms. Balance sheet repair. In other words, companies are going to continue to go bankrupt. I know it's great that Google hit, 600 a day. Great. Apple hit, 308. Great. But the general economy of the United States continues to be in horrifying condition. And so he's talking about balance sheet repair. And then he talks about it's difficult to convey these concepts. Well, the doublespeak, no wonder it's difficult to convey. And you know what? He's pretty much, I think he's warning people it's going to get worse. And you don't understand it. I do. But I'm telling you, Man of Truth understands it. Like I said before, and I called it. I called gold. I called California real estate. Here we are. It's headed downhill. Well, I'm telling you now, we're going to have the double dip recession. And it's not double dip recession, people. It's double dip depression. So no matter what you hear out there in La La Land on the media, the depression scenario is intact. And I was reading through the lines with Ben today. Reading through the lines. Watch out, baby. Watch out for the next few months. I'm going to talk about the election, too, in the next 2 videos I'm going to shoot. Because we got Meg Whitman versus Moonbeam here. We got some serious things going to happen here in California next 3 weeks. Very serious things. Okay. Well, more notes, but I've got to talk about Meg Whitman and Moonbeam, Jerry Brown. So that's going to be my next video. This is almost 5 minutes. I'm going to cut this baby, and that's it.